Welcome back, everybody. It's Tuesday night, Talk Openly. I'm Jac. I'm here with my excellent friend Daniel, and we are Lion's Roar Dharma Center Sangha friends. And we're so glad to be with you this week. Daniel, it's great to see you.
Hi, Jack. I'm happy to see you too, and good to be
Yeah,
back on Talk Openly with you. I'm
it is
sorry I
good.
missed you this weekend. You were in Sacramento and I didn't get to see you.
I know. I was thinking about you though. I know you were doing the good old dad stuff. That was
Yeah,
important.
it
Mm-hmm.
is. It is. All of the family life stuff is important. I had a friend, I think I've told you this, but Geshe Gendon came to visit one time. I know I've told this story, and I was telling him I was finding it hard to balance sort of community Sangha life with family, and he said, You should make your family your practice."
Mm.
You
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
I took that admonition to heart. And so, if I ever feel a little bit kind of torn between family and sort of Sangha, temple, community involvement, I lean a little bit more towards family.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's a really good kind of metric. And
It
also just noticing like, well, it's always here. Practice is always here, no matter where we are, who we're around, what we're doing.
we don't separate. There's no separation. We have this wonderful community and teacher and space and everything for training.
Hmm.
It's a wonderful training facility, but the real practice is in every minute of every day, waking, sleeping, you name it.
That's right. Well, and maybe you're at a point where like, okay, I've done like some baseline level of training that I can, go out there more and do a little bit more of that kind of real life stuff. No,
No, no. What
I, I don't know. I would say so.
I appreciate what you're saying. I feel like I need maybe like 30 or 40 years of training, and then
Mm.
I'll be ready.
And then you'll be ready.
Then
Well,
I'll be ready.
surprise.
I'm telling you,
Can't
Jack,
take that
I'm
long.
telling you, man, this practice stuff,
Yeah,
it's hard. That's actually why, we're going to be talking about what taking refuge
right.
means to us, right?
Right.
And this came up for me because I had exactly that kind of week, right? Where I was just like, what the F am I even doing?
Mm,
Like I got so many things going on and like what is it? What is all this training and practice? It's just extra effort and whatever. And
yeah.
then I realized, buddy, you're stuck in samsara. Come out.
Yeah.
Come out. And I had a wonderful experience with that where I was like, oh, right, I see. Right. No, practice and training, yes, it requires joyful effort. Yes, yes,
Mm,
it does. Energy, effort, commitment, it never stops. That's true. And I'm so grateful that
yeah.
that's true, right?
Yeah.
That in fact the when the world sort of rubs us wrong, if you will, or has us feeling low or confused or any fearful, doubtful, all that kind of stuff, that's when this stuff matters. That's where real like practice is, right? That's where
Where the
real
rubber hits the road.
that's where taking refuge means something.
Mm,
And
hmm.
so yeah, I'm really glad to be here with you, and I'm happy that we're going to be talking about this subject matter because it's easy to get sort of lost, right?
Right.
And to want to have a home of some sort, a a refuge, a
Right.
ground,
A
something
ground.
stable, something to hold on to.
Right. And I think a big component of this that I want to um talk about tonight is, what do I end up taking refuge in? That's not the three jewels. and how that's still very much a part of my life.
Me too, Jack. Me too.
Okay, good. I'm not alone.
Yes, yeah, we will have all kinds of noble speeches to give about taking refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Yes, and then we're going to talk about taking refuge in not Buddha, Dharma, Sangha.
Yeah, what that feels like. Yeah,
Ooh,
what
what that
happens.
feels like.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Well, good.
this is gonna be juicy,
It's gonna
Jack.
be juicy. Yeah. So hey, I want to hear a little bit about how it's going in general for you. What's your, it sounds like the week was a little bit challenging.
You know
Um,
what it is? It's always the same kind, not always. It's oftentimes the same kind of thing with me where I really thrive on sort of getting into a nice steady rhythm where
mhm,
everything is kind of figured out and everything has its time and place and whatever, right? Like I didn't know that that was how I was, but turns out that I like stability, you know? And I like routine, and
mhm,
like predictable patterns because they're easier. It requires a lot less energy for me if I can just go into sort of like a rhythmic cycle of life. And just it hasn't been that way lately, you know. I'm actually speaking to, even though it looks like I'm in the Donadarje temple, I'm not. I'm sitting in an unfinished ADU, the smell of some kind of wood veneer stuff is permeating the air.
Yummy.
There's dust and sawhorses and everything all around me. And yeah, my work, I'm working now from a co-working place rather than from home.
Hmm.
And it's just like, it's not a big deal. Like, none of it is a big deal, right? But it's enough of a disruption to my normal, ordinary old existence that it throws me for a loop. Kind of gets me down. I don't know how to explain it, but I just like when it's not going the normal sort of predictable way, I kind of like it's proof to me that this who I am in any given moment is nothing more than a collection of causes and conditions.
Hmm.
Because when the causes and conditions for steady routine are present, then I am steady and easygoing and all of that. But when the causes and conditions for those routines and that sort of steady, easy flow are not present, then I am not. And
Yeah.
so, it's been interesting actually. So my meditation practice is also find like I'm having a hard time stabilizing the time and place, right? So, um, I've had different routines throughout the years. In fact, yeah, I used to meditate in a closet, like like been all kinds. I've meditated in all kinds of places, but now I actually find myself going to the temple, to Donadarje Temple, which isn't too far from where I'm doing my work every day, and I just take like a little midday break, go over there and I sit and meditate at the temple, which is really, I'm so glad it's convenient and it's there and it's accessible and it feels really good. But it has a little bit like that's not my norm. And it's
Yeah.
also not always sort of like sometimes there's other people there and stuff. So it's like, I can't kind of like say, yes, that's going to be my everyday meditation spot unless I wake up really, really early and go and do it there. Otherwise, I have to figure out like a new space. I tried doing it from where I'm working, but a co-working facility is not really a great place to attempt meditation.
Mm.
So I'm still trying to find time and pl place. It's happening every day. I'm still, I'm doing my practice, but even that feels more challenging, because I don't have like a spot. I don't have like my little shrine and my little spot that I can go and sweep and light incense and do my prostrations and all of that, and so I like even that feels like kind of out of whack. And it's good. It's really, really good to practice out of whack, out of balance.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love what you said about, if the conditions are right or, right, quote unquote, then I'll feel like myself and I'll act like myself, at least the way that I perceive myself. But when the conditions are off, man, it's a different story. It's a different me. And I
that's
find
right.
that so interesting and so helpful, like what you were just saying about so good to practice when things are a little bit out of the norm, because then we get to
Yes.
see firsthand, like, yeah, okay, yeah, none of this is solid.
Remember those old Nancy Reagan, this is your mind on yours is your brain on drugs,
Yeah,
they
cracking the
with
egg.
eggs and all
Yeah.
of that, right? It's like that. Like I get to see like this is my mind when everything is stable and routine and calm and collected, and this is my mind on disorder and chaos.
It's a good image, huh?
But but these are all this is all it's all still mind, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, right.
so I think it's really valuable if I want to know completely, if I really want to understand the nature of mind, and I want to see how in fact it's not a permanent, self-existing sort of me that's there, right? Then I can see that this is a good thing, right? To be able to
Yeah.
see like, right, when when these things are not the way they normally are, then I'm not the way I normally am.
Yeah. You're a
Right.
scrambled egg instead of just a raw oat or yolk.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. Throw some hot sauce in there and you got a good old
Hey,
spicy Daniel.
delicious.
Yeah. So that's where I am. It's a little bit like yeah, it's chaotic. I'd say it's a little and chaotic, a little unstable, and really, really fertile ground.
Hmm.
Just that, like that metaphor of the ground, right? Like it feels like to me the stable, ordinary, everyday routine is kind of like compact earth, right?
Hmm.
Like just dirt, smooth, solid. But then chaos, whatever, kind of tills it up. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now
Hmm.
it's like kind of ripe for something to grow in there.
Mm.
The
Yeah.
ground is prepared.
Yeah. Yeah,
At least
that's
that's my
good.
hope. Please, 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 please,
Yeah,
please.
I'm preparing the ground. I'm preparing the ground. That can be a mantra.
Something's happening. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see.
it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
I
Hope
think that's right. It's happening. Something's happening.
something's happening. And it's amazing to me how this exact same thing has happened again and again and again. As soon as I think something is sort of permanent, it's not.
Yeah, man, it's brutal. It's
It
brutal.
really
I
is.
just, yeah, because um, gosh, it's so easy to when I get to that place of like, okay, my practice is consistent. I feel like I'm onto something in my practice. I'm really learning about my mind. And then it's like a total crapshoot. And it like it's like, where did it go?
I
Um,
feel like it's almost like there's like this process by which we're being taught, we're learning, we're training, and we begin to get some sense of like, aha,
right.
oh, I get it now. I
That's
see.
right.
And then the teacher's like, all right, let's see if you really got it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't mean teacher as in our necessarily our teacher Lama Jimpa. I just mean like like, all right, you think you got it, you think you understand, you think you're a devout Buddhist and you think that you whatever, whatever. Okay, great. Let's throw you off balance and see how you perform.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Well,
yeah.
good work. You're doing it.
I'm still doing it, man. I
Yay.
am still doing it, and I'm excited to talk about because I think that uh, the real meaning of refuge lies in all of this. I think that there's multiple meanings to it, of course, outer, inner, probably secret as well, right?
Mhm.
Refuge, and so I think that there's when things are a little bit like this, it feels like it's a really good time to examine what this stuff means to us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
if it's not practical or meaningful or something that we can apply when the shit hits the fan, it's kind of worthless, you know?
Yeah. It's just ritual for ritual's sake,
That's
and
right.
it's meaningless. And oh gosh, I'm reading this book by Thupten Chodron, or actually she does the foreword for it, and it's a collection of essays and letters she's received from prisoners. And there was just this one that struck me so hard, where he was like, if you're doing tantra and if you're doing these, rituals without really thinking about how it applies to your life, you might as well just not do it. Like, just don't do it. Because it's wasting your time,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You could be doing something differently with your
That's right.
time.
That's right.
And so I was just like, ah, shit, because I totally there are times where like I'm doing tantra or whatever the practice is just because checking the box, right?
Yep.
And I don't want that. I don't want that for my practice. In the same way that in my, relationships, I don't want to just show up out of obligation. I want to show up because I genuinely want to be with my friends and my lover, right?
Yes.
And so it's kind of a similar dynamic there, is that
Yeah.
having a relationship with the practice, which I know we've talked about that before. Yeah.
Precisely, precisely. And I think we'll come back to that. There are better things to do with your time than ritual for ritual's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Anyway,
Ugh.
so Jack, that's enough. That's enough out of me. Come on, friend. You got to spill the tea.
On my end, yeah. Well, yeah, I have to say I am in a somewhat similar place. In terms of it's a little bit chaotic, but still continuing to do the training. I'm somewhat lazy right now. I'm definitely taking refuge in sleep, so I'll be talking about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, but yeah, like this morning, I set my alarm and everything, and somehow I woke up at 6:30, which is like when I need to really be getting ready for my day. So I had no time really to even do prayers. I just
Mhm.
blew through them and got started with the day. And I could feel it all day, right?
Yeah.
It totally destabilizes the day, which is fine. Again, we should be training with whatever ground we have. Um, but aside from that, I did have a wonderful time in Sacramento this last weekend on retreat. We did a city retreat at the temple, and it was such a pleasure to be around Sangha family and also just a gorgeous weekend in Sacramento. It was blustery fall colors, and it was nice to be able to spend some time just it's funny, I have this weather like this all the time up here, but for whatever reason in Sacramento it's just like really special. But the training itself, the retreat, um, Lama really took us through so many things, all different levels, all different from movement, right? Qigong to kind of get the energy flowing to meditation and instruction. And so it was a really wonderful retreat. I'm definitely taking away a lot. And there's so much for me that I want to maybe do some journaling around that I haven't done yet, just to kind of, you know, make things a little bit more um, not concrete, but really in there. So yeah, I feel refreshed from it. And now I just got to stop being lazy. Or
Mm.
work with laziness, work with that part of me that's just like, I really want to be cozy in my bed. Um, Trying to be kind to that part of me. But I also know that it's not helping. So that's mainly where I'm at.
Okay.
And yeah, otherwise it's life
All
going.
right. All right. Well, we'll definitely be talking about sleep a little bit more
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
and comfort. Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it.
We are only human after all. We're not
Totally.
quite Buddhas yet.
Don't remind me. I've got enough reminders in my daily life, you know.
Right.
One of which was I went to go. I decided there's an anniversary party, 10-year anniversary party coming up for Lions Roar, for having that temple, right? For having the
Hmm.
Donut Darje temple, and I was asked to MC it, but they asked me to dress up for it.
Huh.
And this is me dressed up, right?
Right.
So I was like, I'm like, oh my God, all right, what am I gonna do? I don't even know the right language for formal attire or anything. So today I took a little break and I went over to a tailor here in town, right? And I was just like, I just wanted to look at what they had, and they didn't. They're a tailor. They're like, they don't have a bunch of stuff, right? But the guy, he's like, he takes me in and he's like, well, let's get you measured and I'll show you the sports coats and blazers and things like that that might be interesting to you. And he measures me, right? And I gotta tell you that the getting old aspect of being in a human body hit me pretty hard.
Mm.
And I was like, oh my God, dude, I don't know, man. Like these measurements don't sound right. And then he said something. He was like, oh, it's okay. We work with roly-polies.
Oh my God.
No, no, it was good. It was good. Like he was just being on. It was good. Like we were joking about it, you know. And I was like,
Human.
and then I had this sort of like, on the one hand, I had a little bit of this. Yeah, I've been taking refuge in food
Mm.
sort
Mhm.
of a little bit too long now, and it's not quite working for me. And then I
Mhm.
also had at the same time I had a little bit of that, yeah, and you're getting older and fat is sticking around longer and this isn't
Right.
going to get easier.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and it was this sort of like, oh, oh, sort of moment, you know, of being a very clear reminder of what it means partially to be human, getting older
Yeah.
in this kind of.
Man, sometimes those very direct people can be very good teachers.
They can, and thankfully, it's not. I don't find it offensive. I find
Yeah,
it refreshing. I'm
that's
just like,
awesome.
come on, let's call a roly-poly what it is.
Totally. Yeah, yeah,
Plus, there's something
yeah.
kind of cute about it, you know. I'm like, oh, I'm just a
Yeah.
roly-poly.
I love roly-polies.
Yeah, yeah. First, there's acceptance, and then there's commitment, right? Mm.
Exactly.
I'm still in
Right.
the acceptance phase.
Oh yeah, I feel ya.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that whole aging thing.
I was talking to one of our friends tonight about that.
Yeah.
A friend that we have in common about that, and it sounds wicked,
Hmm.
brutal. I mean, my own experience, I'm almost 50,
Hmm.
which, when I was younger, 50 was ancient, right?
Yeah.
Now it feels like a spring chicken a bit, right? But when I talk to somebody who's, approaching 80, it's a different story. And
Yeah.
it sounds really hard.
It does
Really.
sound really hard. Yeah. Yeah, I hope that as as a little segue, I really hope that, mind training, the I can really train my mind to be prepared for that stage of my life. Because I'm also hearing the same thing from a lot of clients is that it's not for the faint of heart, aging,
No, no.
especially in that kind of that age grouping. So how
Yeah.
about it? Should we train our minds, do some
Let's do it.
Lojong?
Nice segue. Let's do it. Let me see if I can find the random Lojong slogan generator page on lionsroardharmacenter.org. All right, here we are. I'm going to push the big orange button.
Okay. Feel like we've had this one recently,
We
but
have.
it's important.
It
Okay,
is.
11. When beings and the world are filled with evil, transform unfavorable circumstances into the path of enlightenment. So, Thupten Jinpa is describing in this kind of verse here in short When calamities befall me, it is the weapon of my own evil deeds turned upon me, like a smith killed by his own sword. From now on, I shall be heedful of my own sinful actions. And it sounds like that's from Wheel of Sharp Weapons, or this one is the poison peacocks neutralizing a poison, but it's yeah,
Sounds like
very similar to Wheel of Sharp Weapons. And let's see, Kinshin Thrangu says, sometimes it seems that the world is filled with negativity and that living beings have much suffering and many accidents befalling them. We must learn to transform these negative circumstances into the path to enlightenment. This can be done in two ways, through the practice of relying on relative bodhicitta and through the practice of relying on ultimate bodhicitta. All right.
I wonder, it's that second one, what Kenshin Trangu is talking about there. It's one thing to transform, the negative circumstances of our own life into the path of enlightenment, and using even sort of the technique there that Thupten Jinpa mentions, right? Like essentially viewing these calamities befalling us as sort of the karma or our own karma ripening, right? And we can sort of look at that and see how our own non-virtuous behavior of body, speech, and mind have perhaps resulted in that. Um, but what I kind of struggle with a little bit here is how to view the calamities befalling others, right? So when I see, a lot of suffering and sort of recurring, sometimes I feel like I'll have like I'll talk to one person or hear one person's story, and
Mm,
it feels just like one thing after another, and I feel quite fortunate, right? In comparison, I think, man, I haven't had any of that, and these people, for some people, it really feels like it's just like they can't win. It just gets worse and worse, and everybody around them is, sick or dying or getting hurt or being sued or whatever. Bad shit's happening to all around them,
mm,
right? And I don't know, I'm not at a point where I can just say like, oh yes, and I'm going to do something about all of that, right? I'm not.
mhm,
I do want to ultimately be at a place where, I could, offer actual um, help, out of some kind of reduction in their suffering. But all I really can do is practice with my own stuff, right? What I have a hard time with is really like, how do I relate to the suffering of others, right? When it's recurring like that, like I
mm.
don't, you know what I mean? Does that make any sense? Like I don't,
Yeah,
like I see it, I witness it, and I'm like, nowadays I just sort of acknowledge it, right? Like there's a tremendous amount of suffering just visible on the streets of Sacramento, right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Like tons of it, lots of it. You just have to take a walk, take a drive, and it's everywhere, right? And I don't like I observe it, I see it, and it affects me in a way where I'm like, oh, right, like ouch, like these people are really hurting in bad ways. Um, but I don't really know, other than witnessing it, that there's anything I could do.
Mm. Yeah, it's kind of like there's only so much that we can do with someone else's material conditions. Of course, donations or helping out with, the immediate concern, but a lot of times that only goes so far. Um, and so I think you're right in saying like, okay, I can witness, and then how do I bring this back to my own training and my own practice? Um, and I think, something that I've been thinking about lately, of course, there's these big, like gross level sufferings, that are so easy to see, very visible, horrible. And then there's these kind of like smaller cuts, right? That all of us are receiving all day, every day, right?
Yeah.
These kind of various levels of suffering. And so to remind myself, like, I'm really not that far off from what folks are experiencing and what I see in homelessness or whatever it is. For one, that could happen to me. I could easily be in a, well, hopefully not, but in a war zone. Right. So materially that could happen. But then also just thinking about like, well, I'm suffering. There's how about I see like where that's also happening for me
Yeah.
and turn that towards refuge. That I can't make samsara perfect. Um, and I can continue to be a kind, good person and a helper. And samsara is not going to uh, become good.
That's what it feels like, Jack. That feels like what the witnessing kind of is like, where in cases, and I'm not just talking about like homelessness, like you're right, there's that gross level, but it feels like it's kind of like this is samsara. It
Yeah.
is filled with suffering and all kinds, like you said, it's at all these different levels, right? There's sort of the material aspect of things. Some people have, some people don't. And then there's so many people afflicted with anxiety and fear and all kinds of stuff, and you're right, like there's no fixing that to make it better, right?
Mm. Hmm.
Samsara is never going to be um non-suffering.
Yeah.
So
But hey, Lojong sure helps us be able to endure and um, try and make some changes.
absolutely, and always, starting with working on cutting the root of our own suffering because it's that whole, we have to work these things out ourselves if we're going to be helping anybody else.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. Oh, I remember these
I
these
do too.
poses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gorgeous.
The four-seated masters.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm very curious, like, this is kind of an aside, but the people who learn how to paint thangkas, I think that sounds like such a fascinating life.
Yeah.
And yeah, to bring those images into the world. How cool.
Very,
Great.
very cool.
All right. How about we talk some refuge?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, well, and I imagine, like we mentioned earlier, we're not going to just be talking about um kind of the ritual of taking refuge and yeah, the kind of prayers and ways that we take refuge every day on that level, but also the kind of lived experience, the living commitment, right? Rather than just the kind of, you know, I don't want to say word vomit, but
Yeah.
sometimes it feels like
Right.
word vomit of,
Right.
reciting the prayer. And so refuge as a real backbone to my life. Um,
But it starts with
You
that.
got you got him. Yeah, your face was like, oh, I'm thinking.
I was thinking about it. It does start, it's interesting. I've actually thought about this a lot recently about how, yes, there are all these sort of deeper and deeper levels, to the meaning of taking refuge, but it really does start and occasionally come back to just saying the words, right?
Mm,
So I had this experience, part of what led me to this. So the other day I was in that kind of whatever. I was like, I really need to meditate. I haven't meditated today. Okay. And so I went to the temple, right? This is on Monday. This is yeah, yesterday. And
mm,
so I get there and then I had this sort of like this moment where I was in the temple, it's just me. And I was like, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna do, your regular old routine here? You're just gonna do what you usually do? Why are you doing that? You got plenty of things that you could be doing. Why would you waste your time with this? Why are
mm,
you just gonna go through some motions, you know? And I was like, it was hard actually. I was like, oof. And my immediate reaction is a common one for me, which was I was like about to just leave. I was
Yeah.
just like, you know what? I don't think I can hang with this right now. Right? Like I'm not so sure I want to be meditating right now, and I'm not sure what I'm doing. And and it was there was just a lot of chatter, and a lot of sort of resistance. And then I thought to myself, I was like, man, what's the most elementary thing I could possibly do, right? So on Mondays, I always do a little bit of Tara practice, and I was like, I'm gonna just start there because that's my commitment. And even if it is ritualistic and if it is routine, I'm gonna do that anyway. And that
Mhm.
involves taking refuge, uttering, saying the words. And then I was like, after I did that, I was like, I still don't feel like, just doing a silent meditation. So instead, I went and I found a refuge practice and, a little booklet, right?
Hmm.
And I went through and did the refuge practice, right? The sadhana that Lama had come up with, right? And it was transformative.
Hmm.
Just saying, there's some visualization in there and everything, but just the words, the simplicity. I was
Sure.
like, just reading this, right? And just reading it reminded me of, oh, right, yes. Ah, that's right. That's right. And at the end, you take these vows, right? You make these vows. You're gonna avoid killing and stealing and so on and so forth. And then I'm like, right, right. I want an ethical framework for my life because it benefits. Like, what am I thinking? Of course, I'm going to do this practice, right? And
Yeah.
it was like a breath of like billowing energy coming into me,
Mm.
right? And this wasn't some kind of, maybe it was metaphysical, but it wasn't like that, right? It wasn't like some kind of made up belief, hokey pokey sort of thing. It was a real sort of like, yeah, Daniel, look, man, like this stuff is the only thing that has ever proven itself to be effective and dependable in terms
Mm.
of reducing suffering. And if you
Mm.
want, you don't have to do this. There's no God, there's no Dharma police. You can go and break all of these vows. You can not meditate, and no one not Lama, not Jack, not anybody is going to make you do anything.
Mm.
You're gonna, And so I had this sort of like,
Mm.
right, this is me taking refuge. I'm doing this and I'm doing it for myself and for everybody that I love and care about, right? That's why I'm doing this. And when I really reflect on it, I'm like, I know that all the alternatives that are out there, all the other things that I do and can take refuge in have failed me across the board,
Mm.
without a doubt, and dependably they've failed me, right? And the only thing that has dependably not failed me is training, right? Practice. That's the only thing that's never failed me. When I do it, I see a reduction in suffering. I can see it's like there, life is
Yeah.
better,
Yeah.
right? And
Right.
that develops faith. That there's actual great confidence and faith in it. And at the same time, probably, I'm sure we can relate to this, is a feeling of like it's freaking hopeless. It's choiceless,
Yeah.
right? That there's the rub is that it actually, I'm like, I don't have an alternative. I don't
Yeah.
have another option, right? My little shopping around for solutions to make samsara better have all met with failure until
Mm.
I finally, through wonderful merit, whatever happened, right? Good karma, I came upon this path, right? I started walking it, and I can see in my own experience, the fruition. And it's like, well, clearly, this is the only path for me to walk on. Even whether it's hard, easy, pleasant, unpleasant, it actually doesn't freaking matter, right? I have to keep walking it because I don't have a choice. And it's not because Lama's got a gun to my head.
Right.
It's not because I'm going to go to Buddhist hell. It's not because of any of that, right? It's just because there isn't anything else that works.
Right. Yeah. And how interesting too that it seems like you came up to this decision at the temple. of you were either going to like just kind of do the routine, kind of the doldrums, I'll just get it done, or you were gonna escape, you were gonna leave.
That's right.
And you decided to do neither of those.
Correct.
What do you think, like what was the pivot point? Like you know, what allowed you to say, no, I'm gonna take refuge. I'm doing this.
Huh. What was the pivot point? Well, I think that there's partially this feeling of like, I'm not ready to abandon ship completely, right? I'm just moaning and groaning. And so there was just this feeling of like, there was this sort of resignation a bit, I guess, of like, right, you're going to keep doing this, but this isn't going to work if you're just going through the motions,
Yeah,
right? And then there was some kind of a callback to, multiple discussions with our teacher, where I've asked for, advice on which practices to do and so on, and so often he's just like, the refuge practice contains it all. It's
yeah,
great, like it's a simple one, it's easy to do, and it's got everything in there. And so there was a little bit of that, like going back to basics kind of thing. And that's why you saw me hemming and hawing, right? Is
uh-huh.
because I'm like, actually, I think it's important to maybe come back to the mouthing the words sometimes,
Sure.
right?
Yeah,
Like there is value to that. I'm sorry I went so far with it, but
absolutely.
I
No,
just,
yeah. And I think you're right. It's like, but there has to be that kind of like commitment to it that you decided on, right? Where it's
correct.
like, you know what? No, I am gonna do this. And yes, it starts as just mouthing the words, right? But then there's that commitment. Um, and that rising kind of like recognition of like, okay, I gotta give it up. I'm giving it up. I'm turning myself over to this. I'm taking refuge in this rather than routine or escape. And I think that's really powerful.
It was so powerful. And I actually gave in to, because that's part of what I like. If I don't mean this, if I'm not doing this from my heart, then it doesn't matter. And I was like, I told myself, I was like, no. You're gonna sit your ass down and you're just gonna read it. You're just
Yeah.
gonna read it. Just read it out loud, and you don't have to do anything. Just read it, right? Just mouth the words, right? And it was that alone was enough to like remind me to pull it all together, And then I felt this connection to the lineage. I was reminded of why I'm doing this, of all the benefits, of all my friends and all the support, the fact that I'm not doing it alone, right? I was reminded of all of this through the practice, but it started with just mouth. I was just like, I'm just gonna mouth the words.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome.
It is, it is.
Yeah.
So now what does that mean to us? What does it mean? We've taken formal refuge. I took refuge back in December of 2010. And you were what, 2 or 3 years before that?
I was, so you must mean 2020.
I'm
Because I was
2020, sorry.
20, yeah. I mean, it could have been
No,
2010, right?
2020.
Um, March of 2018, 19.
Wait a
Yeah.
second. Wait, mine was
Wait.
2023. I don't know what I'm saying. 2023. I'm all scatterbrained here. I've only taken 2 years. 2 years
Yeah, yeah,
coming up on
yeah. Yeah, mine was 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and my refuge was like very kind of like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, like why not?
Yeah.
It was just really kind of like jumping in head first. And I'm glad that I did. I have no regrets. Um, but I can't say I really had quite an understanding really of what the three jewels meant and or what it meant to have a guru. Um, that's okay. It's, a lifelong understanding develops over time. Um, but I can see a little kind of hint of my original refuge being wanting things to change for me. Not that that's bad, right? Like I think, spiritual practice, we want to change, right? We want to
Yeah.
make positive changes, so that we can, help ourselves and help others. But I think I didn't quite understand what that meant in terms of like committing to a Buddhist practice. Um, and now I really get that sense, like it keeps kind of coming up, of this feeling of like, give it up, like give up the other refuges. They're not working. Um, and so there's a little bit of that hopelessness that you mentioned earlier, where it's like, man, it's it's really true that none of this is gonna work, and in a way of making me, just stably happy, okay with myself, okay with others. It's just not it. And so to if I recognize that without the refuge of Buddha Dharma Sangha, you know, that would be severe depression,
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
to recognize that, like, okay, it's kind of hopeless and I have nothing. Yeah, that's nihilism. That's depression. And so I'm so grateful that I've got what actually brings so much like joy and like connection, right? Like just because there's hopelessness in my other refuges doesn't mean that I can't connect in a different way with, because I really do. I take refuge in my relationships. Um, and especially my partner, but also family, friends. And I really see that when I'm not in a place of taking genuine refuge in the three jewels, then I get this like really icky attachment, possession, control, um,
Mhm.
feelings around my other objects of refuge, right?
Yeah.
The non Dharma objects.
Yeah.
And so it creates what I don't want, which is disconnection. But when I'm really, really genuinely taking refuge in Guru, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, it's like that clinginess falls away, at least
Yeah.
a little bit. I mean, it's not fully there for me,
It
but
relaxes.
it
Yeah.
exactly. It relaxes, which then allows for what I want, which
Right.
is genuine connection
That's right.
that's not about, like fusion with the other person, um, but about just genuine appreciation and love. And so as I'm saying all of that, like it really, I don't know, it makes me feel so grateful, um, on both a relative level and a more kind of like ultimate spiritual practice level, which of course they're not separate, but um yeah, really feeling that gratitude.
It's a wonderful way to transform the ordinary refuges, and to witness that they're not bad,
Right.
they're not negative, right? So, uh, for example, we talked about sleep.
Yeah.
It's funny. I mean, I think that partially it's just seasonal, right? Like this time of year, you want to
Yeah.
cuddle up or whatever and just stay warm. But there is this sort of this aspect to it which can be aversion or avoidance, right? Like it's so comfortable and so nice here in my warm, safe little bed. I don't want to have to go out there and train and practice and work and do all of that stuff. And so, like, there's that finding that, on the one hand, there's nothing wrong with sensual experiences. There's nothing wrong with pleasant experiences of sleep or food or sex or any of those things. They're not bad in and of themselves. What makes them problematic is this grasping or strongly avoiding, whatever it
Yeah,
is, right? It's this over, they're blown out of proportion one way or the other. And if we can come back, if we can just soften it, just relax it a little bit, right? Then it's more spacious and those things can occur, but where it's not samsaric, we're not grasping, we're not holding on, we're not hurting because
right.
they're impermanent, right? It just comes and goes.
Yeah. Yeah, we're having realistic expectations of those things rather than that unhealthy, overblown exaggeration of like the good qualities in the thing, right?
Right.
Like I will be happy if I'm able to, have such and such tonight. And that's not the case. And so yeah, being able to see I can have some pleasure with that thing tonight. Um, and that's it. That's the experience.
Hmm.
It doesn't make my liberation happen. It doesn't make my happiness happen.
Right.
Um, and
You know,
it's just such real freedom, right? To accept that.
there is. I couldn't agree more. And I feel like, you had mentioned earlier about, slipping into nihilism and depression, right? Or surrounding this hopelessness stuff. And I was thinking about it earlier today, how actually I'm so clever that I've actually made nihilism my refuge, right?
Sure.
Nihilism itself is my refuge, right? In many cases. And so this will show up, and I'm like, yeah, it's all meaningless. It's all pointless, and whatever. And that part will take over, and I'll latch on to that because it feels familiar. It feels safe. It feels like
Yep.
home. It feels like, yeah, that's reality. Because I say when I take refuge, I say that I want to align myself with reality, right? That's what
Mhm.
I think I'm doing. But then what happens is this nihilistic sort of these thoughts and feelings will emerge, and then I'll be like, that's real. That's true, right? And but the thing is like I'll notice, oh, that hurts. It feels like you said, it icky. It
Mhm.
feels bad. I feel angry. I feel disappointed. I feel sad, depressed, hopeless, whatever. And not hopeless in the kind of hopelessness that we're talking around about here. More just
Mhm.
like, like none of this is worth doing and it all sucks and it's all bad and nothing good is ever going to come of it, right? But then I notice that that's what's happening. And then I go, yeah, okay.
Mhm.
You see those thoughts. Okay. And then I just like I can just acknowledge them and be like, yeah, oh, okay. I'm not giving you any truth value. I'm just acknowledging that those are thoughts and that they exist here and I feel there's some familiarity around them. And
Right.
then it opens up. It opens up wide and that opening up, it encompasses the Nile. It
It
encompasses
does.
it takes it in. It says like, sure, there's space for a nihilistic Daniel and for more.
Yeah. Right. I love that the idea that taking refuge gives us space to kind of accept it all, whatever's coming at you, whatever's coming through the mind or the heart, and just say, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, that's there right now. Yeah,
yeah,
that can be there. Also,
right.
this can be there.
Exactly. And the part that hurts about it, the part that causes suffering is overly identifying with it where there isn't anything
Sure.
else. There's only that thing, whether we're talking about a relationship with a partner or whatever, and we're so fixated and we're so just like this is it and nothing else, and we can't think about anything else, or it's nihilism, or it's sleep, or it's sex, or it's food, or it's whatever it is, right? Like we've collapsed this infinite spacious thing right? That is life if we were to give it a word, right? And we've taken and we put it into this tiny little itty bitty little box and we said, that's it.
Yeah.
And how pathetic is that?
Mm. Well, and yeah, it's sad because it's like
Yeah,
we're missing out on a whole world of experience that's just at our fingertips.
yeah,
And so to only see like one tiny little band of it is just, yeah, it's sad.
that's
Um,
right.
and I love that, yeah, taking refuge has not taken away my sadness, right? In fact, it's allowed me to feel it
That's right.
um in a deeper way, right? But in a way
Yes.
that's not consuming and nihilistic. So I love that yeah, that opening of space to just be with it
Yeah,
all.
yeah.
Yeah,
And knowing that it's all workable. Keep
it's all
going.
workable.
Maintain, once you've taken refuge, continue to take refuge through practice. The practice is the refuge. That is our safe direction. That
Mm,
is what's going to be of greatest benefit to ourselves and to everybody else.
yeah.
Don't give up. Keep going. That's taking refuge.
On that note, man, how could we say any more?
That's it.
Keep going, right?
Keep
The Buddha's
going.
last words. All composite things are empty, right? Practice diligently. Is that right?
Impermanent. All composite phenomena are impermanent, right?
Practice diligently. I think that's
Practice
the first
diligently.
one. I definitely know the second one, practice diligently.
Practice, that's the important part.
Yeah,
Practice
yeah.
diligently.
Our safe
So,
direction.
yeah, and I really appreciate you having this conversation with me tonight, Jack. It was really meaningful, and
Yes,
I
me
hope that
too.
whoever our audience is, I hope that they find some meaning in it as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks so much. And thanks everyone for coming. If you can make a donation, lionsroardharmacenter.org, keep all these, helpful programs going and keep our temple running for the benefit of all.
Right?